Hey folks, welcome back to the Cotswold Collectibles YouTube channel. I'm Greg Brown, president of Cotswold Collectibles. We've been doing an ongoing series about the 12-inch vintage line of figures and all the variations connected to them, starting with G.I. Joe, Action Man. We did South America, we did Mexico, and this week we're going to be dealing with Europe. So take it away.
So we're going to call this one Fortress Europe, I think is what we should call this. Anyway, so G.I. Joe was very, very successful, and he was very successful in England. And then all of a sudden, the French and the German and the Italians say, hey.
Spanish too.
And the Spanish said, hey, we want to make our own figures. And they came a little bit later to the game. Again, these are figures that I'm learning about. These are figures that I know very little about, but I'm trying to share with you what I do know or what I think I know, and I would love to hear from all you people if I am completely wrong or if I'm on the right path or if something is incorrect. Please help us get through this because I'm learning too. I've bought this amazing collection from a lady named Erin Devon, and she tasked me with helping try to identify and share the information of how all these figures are different. And that's where these amazing figures with their flags came off their neck. And what you're going to notice right here is I've got an eagle eye guy and I've got a non-eagle eye guy. And this guy right here has the French, the Italian, and the German flag on him. So that is Action Team, that is Group Action Joe, and that is the Baravelli figures, right? The Italian was the Baravellis, right?
I think so.
So what these guys are, they look downright identical to the United States muscle body version. This one has eagle eyes. He's got smaller hands, not the beefy hands that the Action Man has. They don't always have to be rebuilt like the United States version. They figured something out on the elastic, and you can frequently find them where they haven't dissolved, but they also frequently break, and they can be repaired exactly the way the United States version is. The main difference between this one and the United States is the United States typically has a slightly shinier body, and the main difference is the bottom of the feet. The bottom of the feet are flat. Remember I showed you in the American video, the bottom of the feet have the little notches in it. And I don't know why they have the notches in it, but that's the United States version. And typically the European ones all have flat feet. So that's typically when I'm looking at a muscle body and I wonder, look at his feet, that's your mystery. Now, is there a big difference price-wise in those? I don't know, that's up to you. So I think these guys display beautifully. I think they made a whole lot more European muscle body G.I. Joes than they made United States G.I. Joes. So
probably because they went past the 76 mark.
Oh yeah, they went through to the 80s as well.
Right.
So this was in fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think the European G.I. Joe started about late 70s.
Right.
About the time the American G.I. Joe was ending.
So they didn't even start off with the painted head bodies. They just boom straight into muscle bodies.
Now, what's really interesting about the Action Team G.I. Joe that came from Germany is they did not offer a blonde figure. Germany did not offer a blonde figure, and I will let you figure out or think about why that was probably the case. But if the blonde figure was only available in France and Italy, excuse me. Italy. So the France and Italy, they had a blonde figure available. And I know that the Action Man has a blonde eagle eye, but I don't think the European version had an eagle eye.
So real quick, so we have Group Action Joe, which was France. And What was the name of the company that licensed that from Hasbro? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay, because there was them, there was Polysteel.
And I think this is a Polysteel figure too. This would have been a Polysteel figure, which is Italy as well.
Right.
That was the other word. I mean, Baravelli and Polysteel, from my understanding, did Italian figures. these are both what would be both of these. I know that some of the Baravelli figures were more of the older style figures, but that's a whole nother story.
Gotcha.
I didn't really go into that today, but these are the muscle bodies from that. We're in France now. Okay, so
Group Action Joe.
Group Action Joe, they made a set of figures that were something that I dreamed of when I was a little kid. I was a big Cowboys and Indian guy. And so they made a beautiful Native American figure, which ironically is bald-headed but has a wig. And if you notice, he has brown eyes and is an eagle eye figure. And I think they called him the Lynx or something like that. But he's a Native American figure and came with uniforms. And actually, we'll do this on another video. There is a line of female figures.
Right.
And there is a Native American female figure that could be for the Eskimo or for the Native American woman.
Shillelagh, I think.
Shillelagh is what they call it.
Right. And what was interesting also to note of this is, Action Man did a line of Cowboys and Indians and Civil War and stuff like that, but they just simply had their Action Man body and they put a wig on it with a headband. And so it was still a Caucasian body, but they made the distinction of using a more bronze skin tone. Absolutely. And it's a very interesting figure. They also made a very unique figure that is this figure is incredibly difficult to find. Group Action Joe had a figure named Bob the Cameraman. And I believe Bob the Cameraman first came out as a Caucasian figure, but the late issue Bob the Cameraman is the same body style as a Native American, has a flocked head, but has blue eyes. And that's what's unique, is this is the Native American body with a flocked head and blue eyes. And that's a really interesting, unique figure that came out from Group Action Joe. Now, I'm also going to tell you there are a couple of other Group Action Joe figures that are comic book kind of licenses. Right.
Rohan. And I can't remember. There's another more kind of a...
There was a Captain Harlock.
Yes, that's what it is. It's an anime-looking guy.
It's a Captain Harlock.
And again, those are on muscle body figures, exactly like these, with flat feet. They just had a unique head sculpt. Now, if you noticed, I've talked about Italy, I've talked about France, and I've talked about Germany. Then we have Spain. In Spain, man, they did something right. I mean, they took the G.I. Joe figure and, in my opinion, they just made a superior product. They're tough, they're riveted, they're solid, they've got screws in them, and they just feel a little more solid, durable.
Way more durable.
I mean, you could really throw this guy down the stairs and not worry about him breaking. Unlike the
even being 40 years old, you can still...
Well, that's the thing. I mean, they're tough. And if you can see here, I mean, what I did was I brought the African American one. I brought a couple of different of the. I got a short, one with no beard and one with a beard. And I know that there's alternate mixable colors of these kind of things. Now, what's even interesting too is they did come out with a muscle body figure that has the eagle eye, and even this has better arms. The arms don't fall apart. They've got like a solid plastic kind of hinge in there. And they really, I don't know what you'd call that from a manufacturing standpoint, but the hinges are just really
the way that the arms and the legs operate is there's actually, let me grab that from you, there's actually a locking mechanism where this part has the male part and this part has the female part, and it fits through there and it just basically pops and locks. And so, whereas you had a joint that was like that vinyl joint or whatever, Hasbro, they just totally rotted. And then these have a way better locking mechanism here. So the chances of these are greatly reduced because they're not engineered in any way, shape, or form like the Adventure Team.
Yeah, and the other thing that's interesting too is on his little skivvies right here, it's a lighter blue, but there's no symbol on the belt buckle, which is just kind of interesting.
And the fact that he has a movable neck post, whereas the Adventure Team had the neck was part of the body.
Yeah, absolutely like these.
Yeah, just exactly like those. So It almost looks like a direct copy of the Adventure Team one, but it is engineered so much better.
These are probably, I would say that the Spanish guys are probably some of the best engineered figures that are out there.
Yes.
That and that late 70s, action man.
The Action Man muscle body. Yep.
But as far as the thing that's so great about these is they have so much more the vintage look to them with that, the joints and all that. And from a nostalgia standpoint, that's great. And these all are very well marked as Geiper in the back.
Oh yeah.
The muscle bodies are not. The muscle bodies are a little bit harder to find. But what's really interesting about these, the face sculpt on this guy, he just has a different look to him. He just has a little bit different, kind of like the Argentinian figures. They just kind of have a little bit
of a distinction,
subtlety, as opposed to these, which, I mean, you could swap out a U.S. head and you wouldn't know the damn difference.
Not at all.
So I think that pretty much covers our Fortress Europe figures.
Awesome sauce. Well, cool beans. Well, that wraps this up. Like Ace said, make sure that you leave a comment below, like we've said in every one of the videos. If you have any input or comments or critiques or anything, please let us know. We're learning about this. We're growing with this, and we want to share this information and learn as you guys learn as well. Also, make sure that if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to our page. And make sure that you like this video, because the more likes we get and the more subscribers we get, the more videos we can put out there for you folks. Next week, we're going to be talking about a very interesting line of vintage figures, and it's coming from the country of Japan. So make sure you join us next week.